days this Monday.
Yeah, a bill that would make Minnesota a sanctuary state is expected to be among the top priorities, and our Pauline Lee is in the newsroom with how local leaders are expected to share more about this bill. Pauline, we understand that's later this morning?
Yeah, that's right. In just a few hours from now. It's called the North Star Act, and it aims to provide protections to immigrants who are here illegally. Now, among the top changes under the bill, the law enforcement and other government agencies like school districts and public health agencies cannot ask someone about their immigration status or help in civil immigration enforcement. The bill also prevents state and local agencies from sharing data or collaborating with U.S. officials to enforce immigration laws, but they can still do so if it's part of a criminal investigation. State government officials would also be banned from acting as immigration enforcers, and supporters say that would help in reducing stress in interactions with law enforcement. DFL leaders say the bill helps promote Minnesota's dedication, appreciation, and respect for immigrants and fosters an environment of inclusion and welcoming. Now, it's also important to note that the bill would not impact any criminal cases where local government are required by law to work with immigration officials. Of course, we'll learn more about this at a press conference coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. But as I mentioned, this is heavily backed by DFL-led legislature. The Republicans are expected to put up a fight this upcoming legislative session, guys.
What? Welcome back to WHAAT TV. Thank you for tapping in, y'all. Tap in, tap in, tap in. Hope your day was well, man. Listen, give us a quick second and hit the subscribe button. If you have been following us, we appreciate you guys, but we want you guys to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of all of our videos. We will be following Super Tuesday and all that good stuff, so you're gonna wanna tap in. Now, if you don't know, up in Minnesota, man, they have been thinking about making it a sanctuary city. Yes, decriminalizing crimes associated with migrants. Now, if you've been following this channel, you know in New York City, we've been calling for New York City Police Department to kind of work with ICE. You know, on certain situations, we just don't want people to be able to commit crimes and skip town, and then ICE doesn't have information. So we wanted ICE to be able to work with certain police departments in certain criminal cases, and they have laws in place, if you don't know, that prevents certain police departments from doing so. Now, in Minnesota is a place where they do actually work with ICE and federal agents to kind of trump up charges and deport people on certain crimes that people would call misdemeanors, you know, minuscule things of that nature. But one thing that people have been focusing on are car-related incidents. Because if you don't know, they allowed migrants to get licenses, y'all. So many migrants were, you know, catching DWIs and being deported. If you get a DWI in Minnesota and you're a migrant, you're most likely getting deported. And they try to make moves to kind of de-escalate that in certain crimes so that families are not ripped apart, and you know, migrants are not being sought after in these auto pullover crimes that they're saying is kind of minuscule. And they're saying that law enforcement is going after these migrants, man. So let me know your thoughts. We just want to know from you as we're hearing this story, do you think people should be deported on small crimes, DWIs? Because they gave migrants the ability to drive cars. Let's get into this story and let me know your thoughts. Should Minnesota be opening up to be a sanctuary city, you know, taking on the impact of healthcare and all that good stuff? And we're going to get into it. So follow us and let us know your thoughts. Should Minnesota be a sanctuary city? They're making moves to de-escalate things, y'all. Let me know your thoughts.
Undocumented immigrants will soon be able to get their own driver's license legally in Minnesota. The driver's license for all bill passed earlier this year and will take effect on October 1st. Today, the Department of Public Safety discussed what people can expect when applying for the ID.
Appointments
What?
are now available for residents to be able to make those appointments. Those are open 30 days in advance. We do say while appointments are available now, they can fill up pretty quickly. We do have a subscription wait list that residents can be able to sign up for, so they're not checking the website every day or all the time or multiple times in a day, to be able to sign up for when appointments do become available. They can check the sign up to be able to visit preferred stations that they would like to go for an appointment.
Wow. So we just let you hear a little bit of that. They allowed migrants to get driver license. Since they've done that, the DMV in Minnesota has been backed up. Yes, y'all. They had a backlog. Them allowing migrants to get driver's license created a backlog. Now, you can let us know. Do you think these migrants deserve privileges like being able to drive when they just got here? Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts. Should Minnesota be moving to try to de-escalate and become a sanctuary city? And stop people from getting DWIs, getting deported. People are having car accidents and getting deported. You let us know. Should people who are getting into car accidents, DWIs, driving without a license, should those people then be deported, ripped away from their families? Let us know, man. Let us know your thoughts.
Is already here in part in Minnesota in two largest counties, Hennepin and Ramsey counties, and the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. That means law enforcement in these communities are barred from asking about someone's immigration status during a minor offense like a traffic stop. And law enforcement, when they do encounter someone who is undocumented, is not reporting them to the federal government and ICE, that's the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. But the rest of Minnesota is doing just the opposite, reporting and turning over the undocumented to federal agents.
What? Yes, y'all heard that. The rest of Minnesota, except for those two cities, two sections, are turning over people to ICE. Hey, let y'all hear that again. Do y'all agree? Should people be turned over ICE for small offenses, misdemeanors, DWIs, driving without a license?
Not reporting them to the federal government and ICE, that's the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. But the rest of Minnesota is doing just the opposite, reporting and turning over the undocumented to federal agents. Tonight we'll examine both sides of this issue. Let's start with veteran immigration attorney Esteban Rivera. Well, joining us right now is Esteban Rivera. He is an immigration attorney. Thank you so much, Esteban, for coming on.
Thank you, Esme. I'm happy to be here.
What would it mean to make Minnesota a sanctuary state?
So what will happen is that if the law passes, it will forbid the state and local enforcement entities to share data or accepting federal funding to enforce civil immigration.
So in other words, law enforcement across the state would not be able to essentially enforce federal law if they come across somebody who is undocumented.
Yes, when it's a civil immigration enforcement. So meaning when they do not have criminal record that will trigger federal enforcement.
All right. Obviously, that would be different if it were, let's say, a serious crime, a murder, an assault, that kind of a thing.
Yes,
that's a different category.
Yes, if it is terrorism, if it is drug-related offenses, if it is something that will trigger federal enforcement, criminal federal enforcement, they will be sharing data. Yes.
Now, the North Star Act, they're putting that in, y'all, so that they could decriminalize some of the crimes that migrants have been doing. You know, they don't want migrants just to be turned over to the Fed. Now, before you go to jump into any kind of conclusions or decisions, whether you think Minnesota should be a sanctuary city, they actually discuss the need that people in Minnesota are in need for employment. They want to employ migrants. Let's take a look, y'all, and let me know your thoughts.
A crime than US-born people, and also are more likely to create a new business. So they are more entrepreneurial. So the economy is better also when we have immigrants in our communities.
And this is actually the issue of a worker shortage in Minnesota is very real. That immigrant community, many of whom are undocumented, are actually supplying those jobs. I mean, do you think that would help the economy? That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, I think so. I have talked to several construction owners, construction especially in like roofing, who tell me, a Minnesota-born, a white guy is not going to be on roofs. If you see in our industry, every
What?
roof is an immigrant who is working on the roof. So we need all of these necessities to be supported.
I think that's key to lock in. He makes note that a lot of homes and roofs, because we're talking about Minnesota, where the roofs get trashed up due to the snow and the harsh weather that they get. So their roofs have to be replaced a lot quicker, right? If you're in that part of the country. Now they're saying that these people would like to get this cheap labor. We told y'all, just like California, who's going to rebuild California after you see California is going through so much change weather-wise? People want cheap labor, and they don't mind that, right? But putting migrants into the system also impacts the healthcare system and the school system. So let's take a look at how that would actually impact the school system and healthcare system up in Minnesota. And let me know your thoughts after that. Let me know your thoughts.
Would primarily draw, sharp distinctions between local law enforcement and federal immigration enforcement. And there are two instances. So we are people of faith who gather together to support community members who are going through crises caused by what we see as dehumanizing and criminalizing immigration systems. And we support families who are in our community, have been in our community for decades, and are put into crises unnecessarily. And there's two primary issues that we see where we think this kind of clear separation will really help. One is people who encounter law enforcement for relatively minor issues, possibly even moving violations and driving traffic violations, and then get questioned about and detained on their immigration status when there's no clear public safety issue that's being addressed. And those people can get put into detention and end up being deported, serving a life sentence for what for most of us would be a fine or a ticket.
Wow. Things that make you say what, people? Things that make you say what? So we just wanted to give y'all that to see what y'all thoughts were on the impact of the driver's license, right? So now they're going to talk about it impacting the school system. And we want to just give y'all a little bit on that, because when migrants are accepted into a state's system or a city system, they have to consider healthcare, and they have to consider the education, the impact on that. So I'm going to just run and give you one of the politicians' views on that, and then you let me know your thoughts. Should Minnesota move to be a sanctuary city, or should they just nip this thing in the butt, man? I mean, what?
We're at our maximum when it comes to things like our education system, our school districts, our healthcare systems are really struggling right now. And what this bill does is it says that we're not going to be working with our federal partners to really protect the integrity of Minnesota citizenship. And so we're going to see a lot more burden on those institutions that we rely on in the state and expect good service from. Take, for example, even DVS, where we're going in and getting your driver's license and whatnot. There's already a backlog in that. And now we're going to be saying, hey, everybody come in here. And by the way, after last year, now illegal immigrants are eligible for those driver's license and ID cards as well. So the line's just going to extend even longer.
Wow. So everything will be impacted as they loosen up these laws and restrictions. The school system will be impacted. Healthcare will be impacted, and they're making a strong note that this impact won't be an increased funding by the Fed. This is something that the city is going to have to take on and tighten their belts, and ask teachers to do more, probably cut some funding here, cut some funding there, just so they can support things, especially when we're talking about healthcare, y'all, because healthcare gets expensive when you start taking on these bills for these migrants. So let me know your thoughts, man. I didn't even know migrants went all the way to Minnesota. I mean, they're going places where it's freezing cold. Let me know your thoughts. Tap in with us. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. Tap in, tap in, tap in. Let me know how y'all feeling, man. We want to know how y'all feeling. Jump in the comment section. Let us know. We here for y'all. We rocking with y'all. Thank you for rocking with us.